नमस्कार। वॉलंटियर एक्शन के 34 पार्ट में आपका सबका स्वागत है। वॉलंटियर एक्शन का आज का जो एपिसोड है वो इंग्लिश में हो जाएगा क्योंकि आज के हमारे जो गेस्ट है मिस्टर थॉमस अडाइकलम और ही इज वेरी कंफर्टेबल इन इंग्लिश, सो विल टॉक टुडे, द एंटायर इंटरव्यू विल बी इन इंग्लिश. So till today we have done 34 interviews for volunteer action. We started with different subjects in social sector like education, child, women, all the subjects and different experts. They came in this platform and they share their thoughts and they share their experience about different issues which they are handling. So today is the 34th part and we are talking about in a development sector, the people who are working for it, the volunteers who are working for it, the employees who are working for it. What is the most important thing they should have? And Mr. Thomas Adaikalam is the best person to discuss that. So I'll introduce Thomas. Thomas has done actually his graduation from public administration at Mysore University, political science and public administration from Mysore University, and post-graduation diploma in business administration from St. Joseph College of Business Administration. In addition, he has specialized himself with several diploma and certificates in human resources, including OD, project management, coaching. Thomas has started his career in conducting sessions with various topics for students, and then he started with Young Christian SYC, the Young Christian Movement, Young Student Movement. He conducted training for soft skill training also in different places, and then gradually he employed in different international organizations, including Child Fund India, Site Savers, CARE. So he's been working with many organizations as an HR person. It's around almost 25 years of experience in HR sector. He works with now Kotak Education Foundation. He worked with Kotak Education Foundation as an HR person, and then now he is taking care of volunteer management also. So today's topic, which we are talking about, is skill and will. That is SAW. That is the formula which derived by Mr. Thomas. So Thomas, welcome to our platform, Volunteer in Action, and we really looking forward to hear from you about the formula which we created, skill and will. That's called SAW. So let's start with the subject. So what is this skill and will, and how you derive this kind of formula for this sector?
Thank you, Srinivas. Before I even start on this topic, I like to congratulate you for bringing several professionals in the development sector through this platform to show to the rest of the world how, what, and how we can do a lot of good work in the social sector. So I would like to congratulate at the outset your
Thank
efforts,
you.
your continuous efforts in bringing people on this platform. Just to start with, Srinivas,
Mhm,
I used to conduct several interviews in my
mhm,
HR professional career, and I used
mhm,
to be an interviewer interviewing several professionals. But the role
mhm.
changed today. I am going to be interviewed by you. That it's a good feeling, and that's a good
Okay.
feeling. And I hope I will enjoy after many years that I am going to be
Mhm,
interviewed by a friend and a colleague uh,
mhm.
for a long time. And thank you for giving me this opportunity.
You're
Now,
welcome.
coming back to the topic, what is skill and will? Uh, I know these two words, the skill and will, are the most used and certain extent misused in organization at large, because
Mhm,
we cannot live without these two, skill and will, in our life. as individual professionals, as organization. So
Mhm.
therefore, what made me to coin this word, because what I saw, it's an acronym that really sounds good, skill
Mhm.
and will, because this is what we see every day. This is
Okay.
what I have seen in my development journey so far. So first and
Mhm.
foremost, I liked the acronym SAW very well. I mean, I
Mhm.
liked it very well. And therefore, my experience with people in the development sector, where I had an opportunity to see for myself, to
Mhm.
experience for myself the skills of people at large
Mhm.
and the willingness, the will of people in the sector, made
Mhm.
me to really wonder at the potential, the powerful treasure we have in social sector.
Mhm.
And I think these two words really bring out the wealth, the depth of social sector professionals, I feel.
Mhm.
So, just to give a kind of a little bit of understanding, which I think everybody knows
Mhm.
about the skill and will. When I mean
Okay.
skill, it basically means the innate talent that one person has got, the
Mhm.
experience and the training that person must have got over the years. So
Mhm.
all these combines the competencies or the skills the persons have. So it
Okay.
is the person who is receiving this. And the will means that the person's desire, the
Mhm.
vision, the dream, the
Mhm.
willingness for doing some work to achieve something.
Mhm.
So a
Mhm.
combination of these the two will
Mhm.
make any work,
Okay.
will make a powerful performance. That is my belief.
Okay. Thomas, thank you very much for giving that kind of. I was just wondering what this acronym like SAW, and we talked about the earlier
Okay.
also. I was thinking like because since working in the sector for last so many years, I was thinking the A may be about attitude, but then you realize it's skills and wills. Because many people say that you need to have a best attitude to work in a kind of this kind of sector. So I was thinking skills, attitude, and will. But you are sure, like this only two important things to start with, because there may be another traits which is required. But anybody want to work in this development sector, he should start with an appropriate skills, and he should have willingness to work in that sector. So I understand how you come from. So we really want to throw, like since you're working in the sector for almost so many years, like 2 decades or 2.5 decades. So, like, what was your experience of can you able to identify that kind of appropriate skill people, and then they really willing to continue that kind of services with the sectors, and it has really helped the development sector. So, what is your thought about that?
Um, Let me also start with another acronym which you touched upon, Srinivas. What I
Okay.
call it ASK. So the ask is attitude, skill, and knowledge. I think
Knowledge.
that is the
Okay.
traditional way of interviewing people. We look at
Mhm.
the knowledge that they have, the skill
Mhm.
set that should have, and then
Mhm.
the right attitude to perform the task. So if
Okay.
these are able to have, if you are able to have, I think you can be a good performer. But
Mhm.
then now coming back to the the three components of skill and will, or
Mhm.
including the component of attitude that you rightfully included in it, what I
Mhm.
would say with regard to the will, no,
Mhm.
I see there are a lot of people in the development sector with a lot of passion, no,
Mhm.
and I am sure you will agree in your experience too. People with a lot of passion and purpose enter into this sector.
Mhm.
Nobody just comes for just a mere job. They
Mhm.
want with a purpose to change the life of people. So
Mhm.
therefore, the willingness is in plenty in development sector. and that is
Mhm.
genuine. People do enter into this sector with a lot and genuine willingness to make that change happen.
Mhm.
But coming to skills, Srinivas, one of uh, the gap that we feel as professional is
Mhm.
there is the there is a less skill available in the development sector. What I
Mhm.
mean is, while people are very eager and willing, their capacity to deliver, their capacity to grasp and give their best,
Mhm.
possibly lacking. And that is why skill building or capacity building is a very, very important requirement or requisite in development sector. In my
Mhm.
experience, I see people with a lot of goodwill come into the organization to
Mhm.
do genuine work, but
Mhm.
sadly they lack a lot of skills, whether it is a technical skill, organizational skill, or soft
Mhm.
skill, which all
Mhm.
will make them successful professional is what they lack. And that is what, as development professionals, we need
Mhm.
to encourage and build their capacity.
Okay, thank you very much, Thomas, for putting that in perspective. So let's talk about now when you are saying about the two sense, like skills and will. Let's talk about focus on that. So let's talk about the skill. When you're talking about skill, you're talking about both hard skills and soft skills. And what are the skill you're specifically looking for in a development sector? Can you elaborate on that?
Oh, sure. I think when you come into the sector, for that matter, any organization, you
Mm-hmm.
need to come with certain skills.
Mm-hmm.
The first skill is the technical skill or subject matter skill,
Mm-hmm.
or could be the knowledge that you need to
Mm-hmm.
possess. This is
Mm-hmm.
very important. So, that is why qualification for a job is one of the fundamental requisite for a job. So
Mm-hmm.
therefore, when someone come into a sector, particularly social sector, we want to
Mm-hmm.
know whether that person has the required qualification, knowledge, and skills. So the
Mm-hmm.
technical skills. If
Mm-hmm.
someone who comes into project management, and if he
Mm-hmm.
does not have project management skill, he may
Mm-hmm.
carry on the job, but he cannot skillfully do it. So,
Mm-hmm.
therefore, the one that is required is the um, technical skill. The
Mm-hmm.
second skill I would say is the organizational skill. Now,
Mm-hmm.
anyone who comes into, we are a team player, we are working in an organization, we are not individuals doing individual work. So, therefore, we need to develop and nurture organizational skills, how to
Mm-hmm.
work in a team, how to motivate a team, how to communicate with a team, how to encourage teamwork, how
Mm-hmm.
to give a kind of a project that where everyone has a role to play. So
Mm-hmm.
therefore, idea of having proper organizational skill also plays a very important role. And the
Mm-hmm.
third area I would say is the soft skill.
Mm-hmm.
No, if we want to make an impression, no,
Mm-hmm.
undoubtedly you need to have certain soft skill, whether it is a communication skill or interpersonal skill. No, these are very vital in any work that we do.
Mm-hmm.
So, even though we are in a development sector, definitely these soft skill play a very critical role when we deal with people.
Okay.
Fundamentally, we are dealing with people. Any soft skill, life skill that really
Mm-hmm.
gives you that edge to deal with people correctly and efficiently and
Mm-hmm.
productively. So,
Okay.
therefore, organizational skills, technical skills, and soft skills or life skills are important components of skills that any professional or any development professional has to focus on.
Okay. So when you talk about skills, you're talking about all across all these levels, or it is just on the leadership level, Also, you are thinking of volunteer level or on the both levels? Like, no.
Now, everyone needs skill.
Okay.
No, everyone needs
Yeah.
skill. It is not just the leadership team, but everyone. And I particularly feel the people in the field, because
Okay.
whether we like it or not, the community, the field is the place where we are nurturing the development or growth.
Okay.
So, therefore,
Mm-hmm.
people who are working at the grassroots level, who are community workers, should
Mm-hmm.
be sufficiently helped to build their skill. Possibly leaders
Okay.
and others in the managerial position, they have opportunity
Mm-hmm.
by virtue of their study or abilities. They have a lot of opportunities, but as social
Mm-hmm.
worker, social sector professional, our focus should be to build the people in the community, the people in
Mm-hmm.
the field, the people at the
Mm-hmm.
grassroots level, so that they also build the skills they require to grow in their career.
Okay. Okay. So that's about the skills. And then the second point, which you are very important, you think about this sector is about the will. So which come first, the will or the skill? And then if it is will, then how what do you think about the will? How you can identify or justify or see whether the
Okay.
will of the person matching to the sector?
Yes. I
Mhm.
know, as I combine these two, we will all understand both are needed. Both are
Yeah,
needed. But it is good to see the metrics. I think I'll just
Mhm.
explain to you the metrics, then I will say what
Yeah, yeah.
development sector needs most. So the
Okay.
metrics could be, if you have the metrics, it could
Mhm.
be high willed and high skilled individuals. So there can be
Mhm.
in an organization where people are high willed and high skilled, or there could be a scenario where there will be a high willed but
Mhm.
low skill, and
Mhm.
there will be also high skilled and low skill, and low will, and there will be low will and low skill. So these are the
Mhm.
four scenarios, and
Okay.
we
Okay.
will have all sorts of people coming into fall into this matrix. Let me
Mhm.
take each of these just to give a kind of idea of what these would mean. Let me
Mhm.
take the high will and high skilled individuals. And you
Mhm.
will always find people who are good in skill, good, they are willing to be giving their best, desire to do the best. So they are having the high will and high skill uh, individuals. And
Okay.
these people need to be in an organization. And if they
Mhm.
want to continue to grow in an organization, these
Mhm.
people need to be delegated, because
Mhm.
they can do much more. But if an
Mhm.
organization does not give that delegation or does not give that decision power to them, they may get
Mhm.
frustrated or they may move out of the organization. So
Okay.
one individual focus should be how to make these people to be more, giving them power of delegation and give them decision making power in the organization, because
Mhm.
they are one quadrant where they are more willed and more skilled. So
Okay.
let's take the other extreme, low skilled and low will.
Mhm.
So these are also people we will find. They do not have the will or desire, but neither
Mhm.
they have the skill.
Mhm.
These people, when they come into the organization as leaders, we need to direct them. We need
Mhm.
to supervise them a little more, because they need a
Mhm.
hand holding, both for
Mhm.
the will as well as the skill. In both ways, we need to be really leaders who are able to support, who are able to guide, who are able to direct, so that
Mhm.
these people understand that without the skill and will, they cannot survive in an organization for a long time. So this
Mhm.
would be a kind of, after some time they would feel as deadwood, and they will feel really they cannot uh, really contribute to the cause or a mission of the organization. So this is
Mhm.
the second or diagonally opposite to the other
Okay.
one. Now, when we think of the high skilled and low will, what do they need? They are really skilled well, but the will is not there.
So they
And
have to be
as
motivated.
leaders, we need to, I think, motivating them, giving them that they can do much more because they have a lot of capacity, they have a lot of skill with them. So, as leaders, as professionals, we need to really motivate these people. So, that is high skill and low will. And if you
Okay.
have high will and low skill, and this is where we need to build their capacity by way of coaching, by way of training, because these people have lot of passion, lot of drive, lot of desire, lot of willingness, but they are not able to acquire the skills they need to do the job well. So, as
Okay.
professionals, as leaders, we need to ensure that there is capacity of building their skills. So,
Yeah.
all our people in an organization will fall in any one of the quadrant of the skill and will metrics, I would feel, Srinivas. So, everyone
Okay.
needs to be addressed in the way by the way of delegating or motivating, directing, or coaching or supporting. And
Yeah.
that makes it
So
clear the skill well metrics.
yeah. So Thomas, the next question came to my mind while you were talking about this. The skills can be measured, or there's some certain parameters can be used, but how you can measure the will? So what parameters you will use for measuring the will? That was the first big question came to my mind. And second question which came to my mind, the person really who has low skill and low will, why should we hire them in the first place?
Okay. Um, I think that let me take the latter one first. Why should you
Hmm.
hire the low skill and low will? Obviously, we will not hire them, right? They
Yeah,
will not
yeah.
hire them. But if you know the history of the social sector, no,
Hmm.
social
Hmm.
sector, how many, I'm not talking about the urban or the people in the maybe good NGOs or so-called well-equipped NGOs. I'm talking
Hmm.
across the grassroots level NGOs where
Okay.
we would look at people, maybe by chance they came into the sector,
Hmm.
possibly their parents were there, the others were there, they were drawn into the sector, but they may
Hmm.
not have both the will and skill. So such people need a hand holding.
Hmm.
Possibly they may look at to you to see
Hmm.
whether we can help them. So I
Hmm.
have a firm belief, once you given a chance to an individual to
Hmm.
understand, to make sure that they can do this in the right direction, then
Hmm.
possibly if they are not able to either acquire the skill or they do not have the willingness to go into the direction, then I think
Hmm.
we should take a chance.
Okay.
Now, the second question, you are talking about the willingness. I
Hmm.
think that is a behavior one can see. No,
Hmm. Hmm.
in an organization, Srinivas, one can
Hmm.
easily see people with the drive. You
Hmm.
can see the way they talk, the way they participate, the way they contribute in our organizational meetings. No, one can see them being involved, engaged in organization.
Yeah.
One
So
can
that that
gauge.
will be always that will be always a guesswork, no? That will be a guesswork. I was thinking any scientific method of measuring it. That's what I was just wondering. Like,
Maybe I am not into that very deep
performance, maybe performance or
person,
something like that.
but I think I believe once you see a person, no, the drive
Hmm.
they have, and I think genuineness with which they contribute to the cause or a mission can be
Hmm.
a good fit to say that they can
Okay.
really contribute for the organizational development and
Hmm.
growth.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So what you're saying is guesswork also, but we can monitor it by their performance, their engagement, their how they are engaging with the team. So some of those things can be also measured and can be sit down and see that it shows their motivation to the team. Right?
Yeah, as a performance management system,
Mhm.
no,
Mhm.
when you talk of HR, No, all these can be measured. No,
Okay.
and
Uh-huh.
this metrics of measurement has gone through a lot of change, Srinivas, as I am
Correct.
sure you will know,
Yeah.
as a co-HR professional. You will know there has been the KRAs, KPIs, and then the measurement is drawn based on the KRAs and KPIs. But I
Yeah.
think
Correct.
these are all gone through a lot of change over a period of time. And what
Mm-hmm.
is stressed these days is the everyday feedback. I think that is one mechanism where you can gauge the performance or the engagement of a person. So if
Yeah.
you have a good metrics and a one
Mm-hmm.
everyday feedback mechanism, one can easily help that person to grow further in their
Yeah.
career or in their performance.
Okay. So that leads to the next question. When is the better time to use this matrix? In the beginning, middle, or you're talking the certain period of time or any cyclical occurrence? How you want to use this matrix actually?
I think the metrics can be used every level,
Every
every
stage.
time that even during the uh, interview, during their training, during their kind of progress, career progression. So it's a kind of understanding where the person is. No,
Mm-hmm.
it gives you a scientific way of understanding where the person is with regard to the metrics of skill and well. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that gives you a platform for further growth as individual professional. So it could
Mm-hmm.
be right at the beginning when a person comes into the organization, what the
Mm-hmm.
skill, what are the skills the person possesses, or what is the dream that person has got. That would be the
Mm-hmm.
first level. And as you work and as you engage with the others, with all the culture and the other dynamics in the organization, over a period of time, the person can rethink, no, the
Yeah.
skill,
Yeah.
whether what you need to grow further to further the growth of the organization, or what are the
Mm-hmm.
other areas of interest the person has to acquire further in skill and as the willingness to move forward. So we
Mm-hmm.
can at every level have to have a continuous dialogue with the employee or with a person during the career of that person.
Okay. Yeah. Thomas, just when we talked about these skills and will, and then I worked with you and I found you like in different organizations also, and you have experimented lots of things which I mentioned in my your introduction. Like in different organizations, you came with different ideas and you really use them. And even working with Kotak, you came with different ideas, and that really helped people. So I am really interested, like the people viewers would like to know about your journey from your childhood, how you came to the social sector and that too in the HR sector, and now you are managing the volunteers in the sector. So how that journey? Can you just elaborate on that? How where you started your primary education till your first career, first job, employment? How you moved actually?
If you look back, Srinivas, if I look back,
Mm-hmm.
there can be people who influenced you, who
Mm-hmm.
impacted you, who were
Mm-hmm.
who inspired you. No, I
Mm-hmm.
think I'll start with the person who inspired me to pave the way for me to enter into the development sector, and
Okay.
that was none other than my own father.
Mm-hmm.
I have seen him as a boy, how he did the development work and how he did the development journey in his own way in the
Mm-hmm.
farming sector. As an agriculturist, he experienced the challenges that he had in life, and he
Mm-hmm.
wanted to grow that sector by involving several beneficiaries in and around the village by
Mm-hmm.
undertaking a very challenging journey of converting a barren land into a paradise, I would say, where
Mm-hmm.
over a period of several years, the barren land, the rocky land, has become a much more very paradise like place where a lot of trees and greeneries, But what made me realize his affection or his genuineness for the poor and needy, the people in and around the farm. And that was, as a boy, he used to take me to that farm, experience what is going on. And that person and that experience was the seed for me to enter into the development sector. I think that is the strong vibe I got from my father, that I need to pursue this career as my future career in my life. So, if you ask me, that was the first seed or first influence, the person who really impacted or influenced me to join social sector.
Okay. And then how you moved actually from there, like, your
Okay.
journey in the education and then how first job, if you can just tell about that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So every youngster dreams of a very corporate job, right? So wants to earn money and wants to really grow higher in the ladder of the corporate life. I was also not an exception. No, so I did my studies. I did my graduation, post graduation in public administration. Wanted to make an influence or inroads in the administration. That was my aim. So I did my studies, and eventually, as anyone needs a backup of a management degree or a business administration to back up your other post graduation, I went. I was lucky to have. St. Joseph's College of Business Administration, and I went to learn the management principles. So when I was there studying, I had a desire to enter into the field of development sector. So the first option I had to
Okay.
enter into youth development. So I thought, let me do the first job of entering into youth development, awareness program, training programs, getting into the youth mind and create a kind of change management for them. So that was my first job, which I thought initially I would take it as a kind of a challenge, an experience, a challenge, as an opportunity. So I entered into that field. But I must say, Srinivas, every experience with the youngsters, I learned more than what I have learned in the colleges. So
Okay.
the youngsters, the students taught me much more valuable life lessons than what I learned in the management or in the university. So
Okay.
that made me to think further to enter into this sector.
Okay.
But fate has it, when I moved into Mumbai after my marriage, I was in a short period with Habitat for Humanity, but
Okay.
as a kind of managing the administration of Habitat for Humanity at that time in Mumbai office. But
Okay.
slowly there was a kind of requirement needed from an educational institute in Mulund, where they wanted someone to manage temporarily the institute, the
Okay.
the school and college. So, as a kind of chance, by chance, I entered in, and I thought, okay, education, and I could mix both my development sector principles in a school or in a educational institute. So, I joined that institute with the hope that I would stay for some time, but I continued to stay for more than what I thought for 9 years. So that
Okay.
institute, again, I had a lot of place called JJ Academy in Mulund, where I had the joy of working, heading the institution, administration. So I had the chance of training the teachers, the students, bringing a kind of new vistas, I should say, view of the working of the modern education. And I'd like to bring out, maybe that is again the development brain that I had, or the idea that I had. In my time, I used to have a special affiliation for people or students who are kind of who are in need of special education, what we call
Okay.
that time way back in 90s, when these children want to come into the mainstream of school. No, people
Okay.
never thought of integrating in the school. So I still remember there were two children who were so-called hearing impaired. No, so I
Mm.
included them in the main school right from the senior KG till the 10th standard. And one of the
Mm.
proud moment is both of them have completed their engineering,
Mm.
having been an inclusive, experiencing the inclusiveness of the education. They are
Mm.
two proud professionals today. And I think initially there were teachers who were not very happy to include them. There were
Mm.
other students who were not very happy to be having them. But eventually, I think they accepted that inclusiveness, integration of such people in the mainstream is really going to be a great thing in education. So I
Okay.
think that is one of the greatest experience that I had. And eventually I moved to Site Savers to head the HR and admin. And then I went to Child Fund. Then I came back to Kotak Education Foundation. In all these development journey, my main focus, Srinivas, is people.
Mm.
People
Okay.
comes first to me, whether it is people, the employees, or the beneficiaries, or the
Mm.
external stakeholders. I think people first was my first motto, and their growth, their
Mm.
development occupies
Mm.
primary importance as professionals or as leaders.
Okay.
Does
Very
that give
happy
you
to hear.
some
Yeah.
summary
Yeah.
of my?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Yes. No, generally, Thomas, generally, when I'm interviewing like last 35 people, when I interviewed, I found that, there are certain traits which are there from their childhood really reflect in their career. And that's why it is always important to know how the person journey is from his childhood to the profession which they are doing. And that's the whole idea of understanding the person on both sides. So I want to ask that next question to you, which is very important because you came with this new coin ideas of skill and will. So when you first stumble with it, actually, when you thought of it, that this is what is important and you have to really focus on that concept.
If I heard you right, Srinivas, um,
Mm.
I think if I take the skill and will metrics forward in a development sector, I
Mm.
strongly believe the genuineness, the drive, the purpose, the good intention of all those who are involved in that sector. I have no doubt
Okay.
people with genuine interest have come in. But what
Okay.
possibly they need is to build their skill further. So
Thomas,
I would
Thomas,
suggest,
yeah, yeah. Thomas, my question was a little bit like different. My question was, when was the first
okay,
thing you realized that you want to start focus on this concept? So what was when? What some there may be something which is inside or outside happened, which has really changed your outlook or perspective to look into this subject. So what was that incidence? I wanted to know that actually.
okay. Maybe I can take you through an incident that I had some maybe 10 years back when
Mm-hmm.
I met an individual professional. I don't want to name that person, but a
Okay.
very remote part in Madhya Pradesh. No,
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
saw the person came with a real zeal for work. No,
Mm-hmm.
real zeal for work, and he, I mean, with a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of desire, passion. I could see in his eyes that he wants to do something. But
Mm-hmm.
sadly, that person really lacked in any of the skill.
Mm-hmm.
So at that time, I realized that there has to be a balance of will and skill. Here is a person in front of me with skill, I mean, with real zeal and enthusiasm. But sadly, he does not have any skill.
Mm-hmm.
And when I digged, one of the reason was that he didn't get the opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Second, he didn't have the resources.
Mm-hmm.
Third, he didn't have someone to guide him. So if I feel at that juncture, I felt the absence of resources, the absence of opportunities, the absence of real people motivators to guide someone to show the way
Mm-hmm.
was the reason why this person with the real zeal is not able to move forward in life. And
Okay.
at that time, I felt if I look at the corporate world, there are a lot of capacity building initiatives,
Mm-hmm.
possibly in social sector, because day in and day out they are involved in implementing a project,
Mm-hmm.
getting the work done. Very less effort is made in building the capacity of people. So
Mm-hmm.
at that time, I thought I should honestly build that platform where
Mm-hmm.
people are given that opportunity to build their skill.
Okay.
I think from 10 years now, we have grown quite a bit in that, Srinivas, because I
Okay.
would say one opportunity that is available freely for people in building the skill is the
Mm-hmm.
online free
Yes, yes, yeah.
courses available. I think
Yeah.
that is one big thing that happened, and I have
Mm-hmm.
seen number of my field staff, people who are in the social sector, going and partaking or participating in this skill building exercise
Yeah.
available online free. I think that's one good thing
Mm.
that has happened in the thing from where we were last and now we are. There are a lot of
Okay.
opportunities. People can attend webinars,
Mm.
participate, contribute immaterial of where they come from. I think
Correct.
that's a good thing that happened to build the capacity of people. So
Yeah.
we have grown in that, even though what struck me some years back, there has to be a good balance. But I must
Mm.
say, people have given a lot of opportunities now to grow in that area now.
Okay. Okay. So my next questions, which is come to you, when any person in the particular organization he builds skills and wills working, or they are in the first quadrant of higher skill and higher will, but the same person is both to the other organization, will it remain same or it can change? So what do you think about when his journey from this one organization to other organization, one role to other role, or one position to other position? How the journey remains? It remains same or it differs?
See, the will is the decision is about from the person himself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I am the owner of my will.
Mm-hmm.
I am the controller of my will. So
Mm-hmm.
wherever I go, from a whichever position I go, move forward, or to another organization, I am the one who drives that will. So
Okay.
it is depending on me how do I showcase what I have as a willed person. With
Mm-hmm.
regard to skill, it could change. I
Okay.
may be in a position where the particular skill I am good at, but when I
Mm-hmm.
move to a higher position, say for
Mm-hmm.
example, if I a project manager goes as a leader, he may
Mm-hmm.
be required to know the
Correct.
financial skills, monitoring and evaluation skill, which I am not equipped
Mm-hmm.
currently. And
Mm-hmm.
that skill has to be acquired and that has to be given by somebody. While the
Okay.
will comes from me, within me, the skill has to be acquired. So it
Mm-hmm.
depends on the circumstances, the positions, or the areas, or the organizations. No,
Mm-hmm.
there may be organizations who are very good in capacity building right from the beginning. So I may fit into that very easily. Where
Mm-hmm.
for some want of resources, there may be organization who may not be able to offer the skill, where the
Mm-hmm.
person needs to go out to acquire that skill. So there is a combination of various ways depending on the circumstances. But the
Okay.
important truth is these two are essential to reach the level of performance one needs to.
Okay. So that leads to the next question. Like you mentioned that the even the person moves to different positions or different organizations or different place, if he is intact within or he has controls over him, so his will would be not affected. But don't you think there will be kind of external factors or external forces which also can impact on your will to work with the particular organization?
Very true. Very true. I mean, external forces or the culture, no cultural nuances. So all these are important areas that can influence a
Mm-hmm.
person's will and skill, right? So
Yeah.
if there is an encouraging leader in an
Mm-hmm.
organization, no,
Mm-hmm.
the person has the skill and will, but there is no encouragement from the leadership. Possibly
Mm-hmm.
the person can be frustrated, can go into frustration, or may not
Mm-hmm.
be able to give his full potential.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly, all these cultural, other, what you call, areas of circumstances or
Mm-hmm.
influences play a
Mm-hmm.
critical role in
Mm-hmm.
nurturing and growing or furthering both the areas of will and skills.
Yeah. Right. Mhm. So that leads to the question which I have, the last question, probably maybe about what is about what would be the tips you want to give to the professionals working in the development sector. That is one question, and second question is what how you want to take it forward. What would be your plan for this kind of the thing which you coined down, the concept which you coined, and
Okay.
do you want to really go in the research and understand how we can make it more refined?
Okay. So two things. One is the tips for the social work professionals.
Yeah.
The other one is how do I take this forward. Let me take the
Forward.
first one, Srinivas. Let me
Yeah.
coin again is a very, I mean, I am fond of rhyming words. So
Mhm.
three things that would I would kind of advise the social sector professional. One
Mhm.
is you involve. I think involving or engaging is a much more in depth work that one has to do. It's not on a
Mhm.
peripheral, it's not on a superficial level. I think we need to involve or engage completely.
Mhm.
Gone are the days, I think you will agree with me. People used to happily go to the communities, villages, and feel to see what is happening. They used to
Mhm.
be one with the people in the community. I think there is no substitute for that experience. So,
Mhm.
if you want to make real change in the social sector, you need to really involve.
Mhm.
Involving, engaging in the community, in the grassroots level is no substitute. There is a danger that people can work in an office and bring out the change if they imagine they are wrong. The
Mhm.
real involvement is with the people in the community, in the field. That's the first thing. So, if anyone
Mhm.
wants to genuinely make a change in the development sector, people
Okay.
need to really involve. The
Mhm.
second thing is people need to innovate. I think every organization, every sector needs innovation as a part of our uh, work ethics.
Mhm. Mhm.
If we do not innovate, if we do not look beyond, if we do not bring newness, then
Mhm.
our work will not excite us. So therefore, in the social sector, people have to constantly dream of innovation.
Okay. Mhm.
Innovation in the way we do, in the way we talk, the way we communicate, the way we
Mhm.
bring people uh, to communicate our work to the others, external stakeholders.
Mhm.
Every area or every work has to be brought in the work in the innovative way. And that is
Mhm.
the role of every person in the sector.
Mhm.
And the third, I think the most important one, I feel people need to really influence
Okay.
by our work.
Mhm.
I think the role model, you know, there are people whom you and I have come across who have influenced by their work, by the way uh, they show in their work. So they are
Yeah.
role models. If
Yes.
people who go into the field have to be role models, they had to be really influencer. They
Mhm.
have to impact by their work.
Mm.
If
Yeah.
they do not bring that impact, they do not influence by their work, it will remain as a mere superficial contribution, but no
Mhm.
impact at all. So,
Yeah.
impact and influence is the third. So, three things I would like to leave it. These are not anything new, but I think the focus for the development, prospective development professionals, youngsters is that
Mhm.
you involve, that you innovate, and then you
Mhm.
influence, and that will make the development sector grow from strength to strength.
Mhm.
Now, the second part that you asked me, Srinivas, is about how do I take this forward.
Forward.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
we have been discussing this several times. So, what
Mhm.
comes into my mind is what skills I have. So I need to stem from there to make that contribution. So one
Okay.
contribution that I can do, in my opinion, is to put down in writing what all experiences that I have. Because I feel of late, putting down in writing in black and white is a powerful way of telling people what you experience,
Mhm.
and that experience can really bring influence and change in the life of others.
Yeah. Correct.
So that is one area. The experience I have gone through, the challenges I've gone through, the lessons I learned, all these I just want to put it in writing. The
Mhm.
second one is wherever needed, I could step in to train, whether it is a small group or a community or an
Mhm.
organization, whatever, sorry, whatever skill that I have, I want to be at the disposal of people at large.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. Thomas, so that gives me like kind of very encouragement. Like you want to experiment this with the small groups in communities, with volunteer groups, with other organizations, and different kind of set of people, so that you can see whether it is testing well in segments, different set of people. So that's a great thing, and I really congratulate you for finding out the kind of finding out this word and working on it. And I wish you all the best, to make it kind of a better theory so that it can be used and implemented in different organizations in a better way. Uh, Thank you very much for coming on our platform. And really, this is the first interview which we are taking completely in English, because initially we started with Marathi and lots of people were wanting to have it in Hindi. So, and many people were not very conversant with Marathi, so we had some interviews in Hindi. And this is the first interview in English, and there will be many people now in the queue who really want to really participate come on this platform, the studio, and talk about their experiences. So we'll be having many more sessions in English also. So thank you very much for starting this a new way of putting it together, and also talking about how the volunteer sector or how the NGO sector or development sector, the manpower is how important, and how somebody working in that sector should look into carefully in the people's skills and their wills, so that we can really do a change in their life. Thank you very much, Thomas, and welcome again for this kind of new innovations.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Srinivas, for this opportunity. And I wish you all the best. And I am sure you will reach many people through this platform and make a change that is purposeful and meaningful. Thank you
Thank
again,
you.
Srinivas.